came around, did you? I thought you two were already divorced. 2 years. 2 whole years. All those nights he worked late, those weekends away on business trips. So this is where he really was. She leaned against the doorframe, looking me up and down. Auntie, take a look in the mirror. Look at yourself. Your eye bags could kill a fly. Your hair's as dry as straw. And wearing those cheap street stall clothes. With every word she said, I shrank an inch. You think your husband came to me for nothing? He said you stopped dressing up after giving birth. Just stuck around the stove all day. All you talk about is daily chores. He's been out of things to say to you for a long time. He says he's sick of seeing you but can't say it. Say it and you'll cry. It's so annoying. Every word of it stabs into my heart like needles. I opened my mouth but found I couldn't say anything, because what she said was true. Over the years, I really did become that way. Seeing me stunned, she became even more smug. What are you here for? You here for money or for him? Think you can keep him? Believe it or not, even if you were standing right in front of him, he'd choose me. I clenched the property deed in my hand. This is my home. Get out, she laughed. Your home? Auntie, get this straight. Your husband gave it to me. He said this house will be ours sooner or later. As for you, she paused. Once you're of no use anymore, he'll naturally divorce you. My mind went blank. My legs went weak. I leaned on the wall behind me to keep from falling. She studies my expression. Slowly, she adds, oh, right. He said you're so gullible. You believe everything. He also said being with you is like having a dog, so easy and carefree. I dig my nails into my palms. But it's nothing compared to the ache in my heart. Just then, hurried footsteps sound from the stairway. Song Yunfeng appears at the corner, carrying a suitcase. When he sees me, he freezes, as if stunned. You, how come you're here? Home renovation blogger online. On a whim, I wanted to renovate the house my parents left behind. But my husband refused. We have a place to live. Why renovate it? Without his support, I had to drop it. Until the weekend, when I passed by that neighborhood and wanted to shoot a video. When the door opened, a woman and I locked eyes. Behind her, the home I had lived in for over 20 years had completely changed. I knew this woman. She was exactly the home renovation blogger I followed. I carefully checked the house number 3 times. To make sure I wasn't at the wrong place, I angrily asked, who are you? Is this your house? The woman was taken aback by my question.
She cleared her throat. If it's not mine, is it yours? Are you crazy, lady?
After saying that, she slammed the door shut. I stood frozen, my blood running cold. In my mind, all of this blogger's videos flashed. In the videos, she would occasionally mention her husband. I clearly remember one video where she said her husband was allergic to mushrooms. I even commented, saying we were so destined. Because my husband is also allergic to mushrooms. Now I see there's no such thing as destiny. Ever since my parents passed away one after another, my husband has been managing this house. But I was afraid of being reminded of them by the place. Plus, I was busy taking care of the kids. So I never came here.
I never expected this house to become someone else's.
In a daze, I went home, lay in bed, and stared at the ceiling. When my husband Song Yunfeng came back, I hadn't cooked dinner. I even had my cousin take care of the kid. He asked angrily, why didn't you cook? Where's the kid? His tone was so entitled. Normally, I would have felt so guilty. He works so hard for this family. All I could do was be his support. But I didn't. I just looked at him calmly. I didn't cook today. Someone else is watching the kid. That's when he noticed something was off. What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? He gently pushed me to lie down, and thoughtfully covered me with a blanket. After bustling around, he brought me a meal. He fed me bite by bite. Honey, I'm sorry. I was out of line just now. It's all my fault. As I ate the food he fed me, my mind was full of the daytime scene. If I remember right, that woman was about my age, but I looked a full 10 years older than her. I finally couldn't help but speak up. I still want to renovate the house my parents left us. Song Yunfeng's face clearly showed a flash of panic. His hand holding the chopsticks even trembled. He pretended to be calm and said, why bring that up again? I'm just afraid that seeing these things will make you sad again. Besides, you've got Bebe to take care of. How can you handle all this? Same old excuse. He said the same thing 2 years ago, and back then, I believed he was doing it for my own good. But now, with the facts right in front of me, how can I still trust him? Seeing that I didn't respond, he let out a sigh. It's all because I'm not good enough. I can't give you and Bebe a better life. He's playing the emotional card again. In the past, whenever he said that, I'd always soften. But this time, I only felt a wave of irritation inside. He kept rambling on and on. Don't worry, I'll work twice as hard. I'll give you and Bebe a good life. Once this project succeeds and I get the bonus, I'll personally take you to find a designer. I didn't play along. I just nodded lightly in response. This man I've shared a bed with for 5 years now feels so strange to me. The next morning, after dropping Bebe off at school, I took the subway straight to the old house. Along the way, I kept scrolling through that blogger's account. Her name is Xiao Xiao's Home Diary. She has over 300,000 followers. Every video gets a ton of likes. I scrolled down one by one, trying to find clues in those polished images. Last August, in a video, she showed her newly renovated bedroom. Captioned, "My husband really loves this color scheme." In December, she made a whole table of dishes. Caption, "Prepared a midnight snack for my husband after his overtime." Her husband wasn't in the video, but the hands opening the packages on the wrist was the watch I gave to Song Yunfeng. That watch was from our 3rd wedding anniversary. I scrimped and saved to buy it for him. How did I not recognize it? It's not that I didn't recognize it, it's that I never thought of it that way. For these 7 years, I've poured all my heart into this family. When he worked overtime, I made soup. When he had social events, I left the light on. I believed everything he said, including the excuse that the house should stay empty to spare my feelings. The subway announcement pulled me back to reality. I got off and walked into that familiar neighborhood. The old security guard at the gate saw me and paused for a moment. "Hey, aren't you old Joe's daughter?" I forced a smile. "Yeah, it's been years." The old guard changed the subject. "But your husband comes around quite often. I saw him just a few days ago. Says he's helping to take care of the house." Even though I had already guessed the answer, my heart still ached. I took the prepared property deed and went to the property management. "I'm the owner of Building 3, Unit 502. Something was stolen from my home. I'd like to check the elevator surveillance for the past 6 months." The property manager glanced at me, then looked at the name on the deed, his expression subtle. I nodded, handed over my ID, and said, "Thank you for your trouble." She hesitated but still pulled up the footage. Song Yunfeng's figure kept appearing on screen. Last Wednesday, he said he was working overtime until dawn. The woman leaned her head on him. They looked very sweet. She took a sip of her milk tea and handed it to Song Yunfeng. He naturally finished it, using the same straw. I kept scrolling back. February 14th, Valentine's Day. He walked into the elevator carrying a huge bouquet of roses. When he came out, the flowers were gone and his tie was crooked. January 1st, New Year's Eve. He said he had too much at the company dinner and slept in the dorm. In the footage, he was carrying 2 bags of late-night snacks. She opened the door in her pajamas, jumped up and wrapped her arms around his neck. Every frame was like a knife. My heart was bleeding. I wrote down all the dates, thanked him, and left the property office. Back home, I sat dazed on the living room couch. My fingers were still trembling slightly. My phone had saved the photos of those surveillance footage. I took a picture of each one. When Song Yunfeng came back, he was carrying a bunch of things. He passed a fruit shop and saw fresh strawberries. "I bought you a box. Aren't strawberries your favorite?" He said that and went to the kitchen, turned on the faucet, and washed them carefully. I watched his back, but I just felt a wave of nausea. In 5 years of marriage, he rarely bought me fruit on his own. Now that I think about it, he probably took the care he showed that woman, and shared a little bit of it with me. He brought the strawberries over to me, picked the biggest one and held it up to my mouth. I turned my head away. His hand froze in midair. A flicker of impatience crossed his face but quickly returned to calm. "What's wrong? Still feeling sick? Should we go to the hospital?" Looking at his concerned eyes, I felt a chill down my spine. How can this person act so well? I stood up. "I'm fine, I'll go pick up Bebe." He put his hand on my shoulder. "Let me go. You rest. You've been looking pale these days. Don't force yourself." In the past, his thoughtfulness would have made me so emotional. But now, I feel like such a fool. No need. I avoided his hand. "I'll go myself." In the following days, I acted as usual. Didn't show any difference. But at night, after he fell asleep, I'd lie with my eyes open, staring at the ceiling, rethinking the footage from the surveillance camera over and over. The way he smiled while catching her. That kind of intimacy we only had when we were dating. I don't know when it started. His touch toward me had become nothing but perfunctory hugs and mechanical kisses. I thought it was normal in marriage, but it was just a shift of affection. On the 4th day at dinner, he got a phone call. He said the company was sending him on a temporary business trip to another city for about a month. I was looking down to pick up food. Maybe the signal wasn't great. "Sometimes you won't be able to reach me, don't worry." He probably thought I was still that obedient wife who did everything he said. But not this time. On the morning of his trip, he hugged me. "Honey, wait for me to come back. I'll bring you a gift." I just smiled. The moment the door closed, the smile fell from my face. I took a taxi to the old house. Staring at that door, I took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. The woman opened the door. She was as polished as in the video. Seeing me, she froze for a moment, then frowned. "You again." I didn't say a word and walked straight in. She reached out to stop me. "Hey, what's wrong with you?" Breaking into my home, I pulled the property deed out of my bag and held it up to her face. "Take a good look. The owner of this house is Wang Yushu." Her face went pale for a moment. But soon she laughed that mocking kind of laugh. So what? What's the big deal about having the deed? Your husband gave it to me, she said it so matter-of-factly. I stared into her eyes. When did it start? She casually played with her nails. 2 years. Huh? You said the house was empty anyway. Might as well let me use it as a studio. You never came around, did you? I thought you two were already divorced. 2 years. 2 whole years. All those nights he worked late, those weekends away on business trips. So this is where he really was. She leaned against the doorframe, looking me up and down. Auntie, take a look in the mirror. Look at yourself. Your eye bags could kill a fly. Your hair's as dry as straw. And wearing those cheap street stall clothes. With every word she said, I shrank an inch. You think your husband came to me for nothing? He said you stopped dressing up after giving birth. Just stuck around the stove all day. All you talk about is daily chores. He's been out of things to say to you for a long time. He says he's sick of seeing you but can't say it. Say it and you'll cry. It's so annoying. Every word of it stabs into my heart like needles. I opened my mouth but found I couldn't say anything, because what she said was true. Over the years, I really did become that way. Seeing me stunned, she became even more smug. What are you here for? You here for money or for him? Think you can keep him? Believe it or not, even if you were standing right in front of him, he'd choose me. I clenched the property deed in my hand. This is my home. Get out, she laughed. Your home? Auntie, get this straight. Your husband gave it to me. He said this house will be ours sooner or later. As for you, she paused. Once you're of no use anymore, he'll naturally divorce you. My mind went blank. My legs went weak. I leaned on the wall behind me to keep from falling. She studies my expression. Slowly, she adds, oh, right, he said you're so gullible, you believe everything. He also said being with you is like having a dog, so easy and carefree. I dig my nails into my palms. But it's nothing compared to the ache in my heart. Just then, hurried footsteps sound from the stairway. Song Yunfeng appears at the corner, carrying a suitcase. When he sees me, he freezes, as if stunned. You, how come you're here? I say nothing, just stare at him. Yushu, let me explain. I interrupt him. Listen to your explanation. That I'm like a dog, easy to keep. Or that this house is yours eventually. His smile freezes on his face. He walks over quickly and tries to take my hand. I take a step back. His hand hangs in the air, and he awkwardly pulls it back. Yushu, she's making that up. I would never say that. You're my wife, the mother of my child. I sneered, pulled out my phone, and showed him the surveillance footage. Song Yunfeng, I know everything. Song Yunfeng's face instantly went pale. No, it's not what you think. Yushu, listen to me. I gave a tragic smile and stared at him. There's nothing left to say between us. Song Yunfeng, let's get a divorce. I turned my head and looked at that woman. Thanks to you for helping me renovate the house. I guess this remodel will fetch a good price, huh? Her face instantly turned pale. Song Yunfeng's face became completely ashen. He opened his mouth, trying to say something, but only a few broken sounds came out. That woman was the first to snap out of it. She let out a sneer. She crossed her arms, leaned against the doorframe, looking like she was enjoying the show. Oh. Already calling it quits? Auntie, you better think it over. Where will you go after the divorce? With a kid and no job, how will you survive? She said it and her eyes swept over me like I was some worthless second-hand goods. Yunfeng is a project manager now. He makes over 300,000 a year. Without him, you'd have nothing to live on. I didn't look at her. I just stared at Song Yunfeng. Is what she said true? You make over 300,000 a year? The salary Song Yunfeng hands over to me every month is 8,000. Sometimes with project bonuses, it can be 10,000. He said the company isn't doing well and keeping his job is good enough. He lowered his head and didn't dare look at me. The answer was already obvious. I suddenly felt like laughing. 5 years of marriage, I've been frugal. I'd hesitate for ages to buy clothes over $200. I saved up 3 months of my own money to buy him a watch. I never held back on holiday money for his parents. I thought we were building this home together, struggling and working hard side by side. Turns out I was the only one struggling. That woman, seeing me ignore her, got impatient. Hey, I'm talking to you. Are you deaf? I turned to her and calmly asked, what's your name? She was taken aback by my tone. She answered instinctively, Lin Xiao Xiao. I nodded. I'll take back this house through legal means. As for you and my husband, it's none of my business. Her expression froze. What do you mean? I said, enunciating each word clearly. I don't want either of you. Song Yunfeng suddenly looked up. Yushu. You can't do this. Bebe is still young. She can't be without a father. I let out a cold laugh. Of course Bebe has a father, it's just that from today on, her father just needs to pay child support on time every month. I turned and walked out. After 2 steps, I stopped. I turned back to look at the door I had lived behind for over 20 years. Oh, and all the renovations in this house. Please restore them to their original condition. Everything my parents left behind, every brick you've touched, you must put it all back. Lin Xiaoxiao screamed. Why? I paid for all those renovations. Do you know how much that cabinet cost? $30,000. I smiled. That's your problem. Did you get my permission as the property owner when you renovated? No. So you need to restore it. Otherwise, I'll see you in court. The elevator's here. I step inside and just before the door closes, I hear Song Yunfeng's voice. The elevator slowly descends. I look at my reflection in the elevator wall. Lin Xiaoxiao was right. I look like an auntie. But I'm only 30. Back home, I turn on my computer and start researching. Divorce procedures, asset division. I write it all down item by item. My phone rings. It's my mother-in-law. Yushu, Yunfeng said you two had a fight. What's going on? I say, Mom, Song Yunfeng has been seeing someone for 2 years. We're planning to get a divorce. My mother-in-law's voice turns sharp. What nonsense are you talking about? Yunfeng is not that kind of man. I calmly say, I saw it with my own eyes. That woman's name is Lin Xiaoxiao. She lives in the apartment my parents left me. Song Yunfeng goes there every week. The security cameras caught it clearly. More silence. When she speaks again, her tone softens. Yushu, you see, men. Sometimes they make mistakes when socializing. It's normal. If you turn a blind eye, he'll come back eventually. Besides, Bebe is still young. You can't let her grow up without a father. Listening to this, I find it absurd. Mom, if Dad is seeing someone else, would you look the other way? She choked. She paused, then her tone hardened. How can you say that? Child, I'm just looking out for you. A woman like you with no job, how would you survive a divorce? At least Yunfeng brings money home every month. I interrupted. He brings home 8,000 a month. His actual annual salary is over 300,000. Mom, did you know that? This time, my mother-in-law fell completely silent. After a long while, she muttered, what a sin. Then she hung up. I stared at the darkening phone screen. I couldn't tell what I felt. My mother-in-law isn't a bad person. She's been decent to me over the years. But first and foremost, she is Song Yunfeng's mother. That will never change. In the days that followed, I was wound up like a spring. I consulted a lawyer and organized evidence. I gathered Song Yunfeng's income statements and bank records. The lawyer told me that Song Yunfeng's actions constitute adultery, and there is suspicion of transferring marital assets. Although that house is an inheritance from my parents, the rental income generated after marriage is considered joint marital property. Song Yunfeng didn't rent it out, but he let Lin Xiaoxiao live there without my consent. That's actually an infringement on my rights. The lawyer said, don't worry. In such cases, the court tends to protect the innocent party. I nodded. Actually, I just want justice. And I want Song Yunfeng to pay for what he did. I went to pick up Bebe over the weekend. She'd been at her grandmother's for 2 days. When she saw me, she ran over and hugged my leg. Mom, Grandma said you and Dad had a fight. Is that true? I crouched down and looked at her innocent face. A 4-year-old girl doesn't understand anything. Mommy and Daddy have some problems to work out. But Mommy will always love you, and Daddy will always love you too, you know. She nodded, not quite understanding but not questioning. Then will Daddy still live with us? I paused for a moment. We might live apart for a while. But you can see Daddy often. He'll come visit you regularly. Her eyes are red. I don't want Dad to leave. I held her and gently patted her back. My heart ached as if being squeezed. But I know, rather than letting her grow up in a home full of lies and indifference, I'd rather give her a childhood that's broken but real. At least she doesn't have to learn to pretend. Song Yunfeng has been calling and texting these days. I blocked him completely. He changed his number and called. I answered. I hung up as soon as I heard his voice. Until one day I came home and saw him squatting by the building entrance. He stood up immediately when he saw me. Yushu, listen to me. I really know I was wrong. I walked around him toward the building door. He grabbed my arm. Yushu, just give me a chance. Just one. I swear I'll never see her again. I'll make her move out right away and restore the house. I'll do whatever you say. I shook off his hand. Song Yunfeng, don't you understand yet? The problem isn't her. He was stunned. What's that? Tell me what, and I'll fix it. I'll fix everything. I looked him in the eye and said slowly, the thing is, you lied to me for 2 years. 730 days. You came home every day and said, honey, you've worked hard, but in your heart, you were thinking of someone else. Watching me serve you like an idiot, were you secretly proud of yourself? His lips moved, but no words came out. I went on, and that apartment. That was a keepsake from my parents. They're gone. It's proof they existed in this world. And you gave it to another woman to live in. Did you ever think about my feelings? His eyes reddened. I'm sorry. I was just blinded by infatuation. She said she wanted to start a studio but couldn't find a place, so you gave my apartment to her. He lowered his head. I took a deep breath and pulled out a document from my bag. This is the divorce agreement. The apartment goes to me, Bebe goes to me, and you pay $3,000 in child support each month. I don't want any of your savings, car, or stocks. Just sign it. He stared at the document, his hands trembling. Yushu, does it have to be like this? I replied calmly, it's been 2 years. Every day you were with her. Did you ever think if we had to be like this? He cried. Big tears splashed onto the divorce papers. I watched him, feeling empty inside. When I met him 7 years ago, he was just as quick to cry. Back then I thought he was loving, soft-hearted, and kind. Later I learned that soft-hearted people are the best at hurting others. Because they always know how to make you soften. Just sign it. After that, we're even. He held the pen, his hand shaking badly. He finally signed it. A month later, the divorce certificate came through. I held that green booklet, standing outside the Civil Affairs Bureau, basking in the sun. The March sunlight was warm on my skin, and I actually felt a little bit alive again. I got a job at an ad agency as a copywriter. The pay wasn't much, but it was enough. My mother-in-law occasionally called to ask about Bebe. She also asked if I needed any help. I said, no need, thanks mom. She sighed, Yushu, our family has wronged you. I didn't say anything. The words I'm sorry are too light. Too light to outweigh 2 years of lies. Too light to outweigh the traces of strangers living in that house. On the weekend, I took Bebe to the old house. Lin Xiaoxiao has already moved out. The house was restored to its original state. Actually, not exactly the original state. Because the walls were freshly painted and the floors were new. Those cabinets she spent $30,000 on were also completely removed. I stood in the empty living room, watching the sunlight stream in through the window. Bebe was running around on the balcony, pointing outside and shouting, Mom, look. There's a little bird. I walked over and looked in the direction she was pointing. On the tree across the way, a sparrow was hopping on a branch. Bebe looked up and asked me, Mom, is this Grandma's house? I was taken aback for a moment. Then I nodded. Yes, this is Grandma's house. She tilted her head and looked around curiously. What does Grandma look like? I thought for a moment, crouched down, and pointed to a faint mark on the wall. That's where Mom used to hang the family portrait. Later she took it down. There's a rectangular mark left on the wall. I said, Grandma, she loved planting flowers on the balcony. So many flowers. In spring, the balcony was full of red and yellow, so beautiful. Bebe's eyes lit up. Then I want to plant flowers too. A whole lot. I patted her head and smiled. Okay, let's plant together. That night I was lying in bed scrolling through my phone. Scrolling and scrolling, I came across a push notification. Xiao Xiao's home diary has updated. I hesitated but still clicked in. In the video, Lin Xiaoxiao was standing in a strange house, smiling sweetly. Hi everyone, long time no see. I've been busy moving recently, finally settled down. The new house is small, but I'll make it cozy. Comments scrolled by, Xiaoxiao, go for it, finally updated after so long. The house looks nice, did you buy it or rent it? Lin Xiaoxiao didn't answer that question. She just smiled and said, right, the previous apartment can't be used anymore for some reasons. A bit of a shame, but it's okay, as long as we're together. Anywhere is home. The scene shifts. Song Yunfeng appears in the frame, hammering a nail into the wall. He turns back and smiles at the camera. The comments explode. I stare at that familiar face for a while, then calmly close the video. I didn't report her for using my house in her content. I didn't expose them in the comments. It's not necessary anymore. Some people aren't worth even a second of my time. Another month passes. The house is almost renovated. The walls are painted a warm cream color. The flower shelf on the balcony is already installed. I bought over a dozen pots of flowers, waiting for spring to plant them. Bebe's room is painted her favorite pink. The curtains have little bunny patterns. My room is simple, a bed, a wardrobe, a desk. On the desk are photos of Mom and Dad. That was taken on our last family trip together. They look so happy. I said to the photo, Mom, Dad, I'm back. In the photo, they're still smiling. Tears started falling before I knew it, but this time, they weren't sad tears. They were tears of coming home. My phone rang. It was Song Yunfeng. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. His voice sounded tired and hoarse. Yushu, I want to see you. Just once. There's something I want to tell you in person. I was silent for a moment. Okay, let's meet at the coffee shop near the gate. When he arrived, I was sitting by the window drinking an Americano. He'd lost a lot of weight, had dark circles under his eyes, and looked 5 years older. Yushu. He sat down across from me, clasping his hands not knowing where to put them. I looked at him and waited for him to speak. He was silent for a long time, then finally said, Lin Xiaoxiao and I broke up. I was confused for a moment. He continued, She wasn't what I expected. After we moved into the new place, she complained about my salary not being high enough, that I wasn't romantic enough, and complained about everything. Once during a fight, she said, actually, she knew from the start the house wasn't hers, but she didn't care. As long as she could live there, it was fine. His voice choked up. She said she was with me only because I had a house and a steady job. Better than those poor guys just out of college. She said she never loved me. I picked up my coffee and took a sip. So, he looked up, his eyes red-rimmed. I was wrong, Yushu. I was so wrong. I hurt the person who loved me most in this world for someone who didn't care about me at all. Now I have nothing. I'm about to lose my job, and Lin Xiaoxiao is gone. My parents won't talk to me. I looked at him. This man I once gave everything for. The man I thought I'd spend my life with. Now, in front of me, he looked like a beaten dog. Pitiful? A little. But mostly, he felt like a stranger. I said, you came to me, to get my sympathy, or to get my forgiveness. She was stunned. I just wanted to see you. I put down my coffee cup and stood up. Well, you've seen me. You can leave now. She suddenly stood up and grabbed my hand. Yushu, how can you be so heartless? You're just throwing away 5 years of our relationship. I looked down at her hand. Then I looked up into her eyes. You were the one who threw away this 5-year relationship. Now you're asking me why I threw it away. I pulled my hand away from hers. Go back, live a good life, find a job and start over. You're still young, but don't look for me anymore. We ended a long time ago. I turned and walked out. The moment I stepped out of the cafe, the sunlight fell on me. My phone rang. It was a message from Bebe's kindergarten teacher. Bebe's mom, Bebe's drawing won an award today. She drew you planting flowers with her. The teacher said it was really good. Attached was a photo. In the drawing, there were 2 people, one big and one small, squatting on the balcony, holding small shovels. Next to it was a row of crooked characters. Mom and I planted flowers. I stared at that photo and smiled. Laughing, tears streamed down again. This time, they were warm. 3 months later, a friend asked me out for coffee. She hesitated for a long time, then finally spoke. Yushu, you know what? Song Yunfeng and Lin Xiaoxiao had a terrible fallout. I stirred my coffee and said nothing. My friend sighed. Lin Xiaoxiao's account got banned, the one with over 300,000 followers. They said it was for allegedly misappropriating others' property and spreading false information. Word in the circle is that Song Yunfeng reported her. I was stunned for a moment. My friend lowered her voice. After they broke up, Song Yunfeng went back to try to get back together, but Lin Xiaoxiao refused. She even said his salary wasn't enough to buy her a bag and told him to get lost. Song Yunfeng, probably humiliated and furious, collected a bunch of evidence and filed a real name report to the platform and relevant authorities. And just like that, the account was banned. Lin Xiaoxiao couldn't swallow that. She immediately turned around and sued Song Yunfeng. Song Yunfeng lost his project manager position long ago. Now, he's doing sales at a small company. I heard he's also been disciplined. Listening to all this, I felt nothing. My friend glanced at my expression and asked cautiously, you, not sad? I shake my head. What's the point of feeling sad? For someone who betrayed me, it's not worth it. Just then, a push notification popped up on my phone. Local news. The headline said an influencer account was banned for violating rules. The person involved was being sued for a civil dispute. The photo was blurred, but I recognized that face immediately. Looking at it now, she's just an ordinary woman, who, because of greed and resentment, made a fool of herself. I turned off the news and stopped thinking about it. What did they have to do with me anyway? I got up and went home. When I got home, Bebe was already back from school, drawing on the coffee table. Seeing me, she looked up and said, Mom, today I drew you. I walked over and saw a picture of a woman, standing in a garden of flowers, smiling beautifully. Next to it, in crooked handwriting, it said, my mommy is as pretty as a flower. I knelt down and hugged her. Outside the window, the sunset painted the entire balcony gold. Those flowers swayed gently in the breeze. I knew that from now on, those awful people and things would never affect me again. I have my home, and the people I love and who love me. That's enough. As for them, let them rot in each other's hatred.